See you.
They did. They saw me enough.
How come this isn't doing the
You
live
can't
one?
see my face.
I know.
You gotta scoot over, cause I'm all the way in the middle and you're not.
That
So
way?
you gotta come. Yeah, cause of these. Unless we put both of these side by side like that.
Yes, I haven't started this one yet.
But
though.
even with that, you still have to come over, cause people are looking already. Hi everybody. Okay, so today, look, your face isn't in this one. There you go.
There. This is
Your face.
This is
in
interesting.
there. Okay.
Is this what it like to be like a movie star?
I don't know. This is
I don't know
ridiculous. Okay. Hi, everybody. Crystal's auntie. Your face. You got to get in this one. Because regardless, you'll be in the rest of them.
Okay.
This
But
one
it
is-
looks like I'm right in the middle here. Do
It
we need
doesn't
to
matter.
move it?
It doesn't matter. Or we can move this over.
Okay, this
All
is
right.
not showing my live.
Okay, here we go. What isn't showing it? It is.
I'll have to redo this, I think.
Happy Juneteenth, everyone.
Happy Juneteenth.
Hi.
I think a lot of people might be out celebrating on Greenwood, too, in Tulsa. It's a really interesting weekend for Tulsa.
It is an interesting weekend for Tulsa. We have a lot going on.
A lot going on.
We, in observance of
Juneteenth.
We are not gonna do our normal health talk today. We just wanted to come on and say that in observance of Juneteenth, we won't be talking today. We're going to meet up with you guys again next week.
Yes.
When we are going to be kind of circling back around to stress and adrenal fatigue and some different
Maybe
things like
some
that.
autoimmune.
And autoimmune stuff. Probably more autoimmune because we've already done stress and adrenal fatigue, but that video got kind of messed up, so we're going to try and
Maybe be more
toss some
specific
stuff.
on some of the other things. This has been
It
good
is.
long week for us. I think a lot of us are a little emotionally tired, but there's also been some really great things
We've had some
too.
really cool things happen.
And this is really interesting. I will say, I've had several discussions with people when we're talking about Juneteenth, about not even knowing about the race massacre, not knowing about Juneteenth, even growing up. Hey, Roz. Hey, Sarah. Not knowing about these
Atrocities.
Yes. But even just that it's history that we
Right.
need to know about. And I think the more and more, like you had posted something today, the more and more, it can get overwhelming as we're opening up what all of what has happened.
But I think the reason that is overwhelming is because it was left out.
Agreed.
So if you
Agreed.
try to, one of the things within the post that I posted today that I thought was a great quote, that, a lot of people try to politicize the Black Lives Matter movement. But within the post that talks about history that was left out and erased, we wouldn't need a Black Lives Matter movement if Black lives mattered in the classroom. And I just thought that was a profound statement within that article because of the fact that we're trying to scream all of this history at people where these are things that you really should have learned, going through elementary school and being a part of U.S. history, your state's history, the different things that are going on, the different contributions, some of the people that we celebrate, in medicine and those different types of things. Well, how did they do their research and how did they get these answers? It's important, to know those things. Yes, we can commend them for their accomplishments, but if those accomplishments were made by taking advantage of Black people or whichever group that may have been, those things need to be discussed as well. So to me that is a big deal. A lot of people don't even know what Juneteenth is, even though Juneteenth has been celebrated in the communities, in the Black communities for many years. Tulsa has an amazing Juneteenth celebration every year.
Yes.
That I have attended. I know Crystal has attended, and we have, a lot of fun, food and music, because it's a celebration. And it's a celebration that is important when you're talking about future generations and what we're teaching our children as far as when if we're going to celebrate Independence Day, right? And then you say, well, you guys need to move on, but we don't move on. We celebrate, our freedom as a nation. So we should celebrate our freedom from slavery. And that is, that's a big thing. And that is what we celebrate. Hey, guys, shh. So that is what, Juneteenth is. You want to add something there?
Well, it is when the slaves were actually notified that they were free, but it was actually a couple of years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. And a lot of people, like you said, don't know this history. And this is the one perspective that I would like to tell people, when we're talking about, we want to separate, this is Black history, and then this is American history, and this is state history. Black history is American history, and it is important for us to know all of this history, and even if you don't think it pertains to you, it pertains to you. If you're an American, you should know these things.
Right.
And then Roz says she grew up and knew nothing about Juneteenth, and she didn't know about it, and she didn't celebrate it, and she grew up in Michigan. I grew up in Tulsa. I went to Booker T. I learned about it, but I've also saw some of my classmates post, not maybe my class, but people that went to Booker T that didn't learn about the 1921 massacre or Juneteenth, which is really interesting to me. And so I think there is other, like, being a history teacher, it's really up to that history teacher whether they impart that or not. I know there's a history teacher that I know, and I know he would talk about putting, informing his students, because most of them had no idea, but you have another history teacher that may not choose to tell their students that, and it's very important.
Well, that's something that even me, I grew up in California, and so my junior college years I spent at Laney Junior College, and in California at Laney you had a choice of what history that you wanted to take. So there was Asian history, there was Hispanic, there was, I think, Native American, all these different viewpoints. But one thing that we learned was that these different cultures were relevant to really truly what happened in the U.S. And when I heard that, I didn't really understand it, because I was, again, like I said, in junior college, but I didn't realize the gaps growing up in high school that I was missing. And then when I moved to Oklahoma and I went to TCC, I was told that, well, you can't, you're African, because what I chose to take, let me backtrack, was African American history. And so I took 2 years worth of African American history studies. And we started all the way back in the 1800s, I believe, and all the way up until present day. I learned for the first time about Japanese internment camps, and the details surrounding that in my African American history course. And that wasn't something that I learned when I was in high school. But what I found fascinating was when I moved to Oklahoma, I was told that I couldn't use my African American history courses as my history credits to graduate.
Oklahoma is very proud of their Oklahoma
and
history.
So they did tell me I could use them as electives. So I used them as electives, but I was required to take U.S. history and Oklahoma history. And so I was able to see and contrast the difference and compare the differences in those courses. And I did not learn the things that I learned in those African American history courses about other cultures, not just Black, not just white, but from Native Americans, from Japanese Americans, from all these different cultures, their contributions, Hispanic Americans, their contributions into building this nation. And to me, that is that is where we miss it. We miss it in the narrative. We have to get to a point where we are willing to tell the truth and to tell the whole story, of the truth. Yes, we have different celebrated people that have done some great things, but there are also people that surrounded those people to help them to get there, or that were experimented on, or anything like that. Those types of things, are really, really important. So we just wanted, again, to come on tonight and talk a little bit about, Juneteenth and the importance of it, and why we are making a choice today to not come on. Well, we're on, but not to have our normal talk, and just, let you guys know, if you don't know what Juneteenth is, the internet is an awesome thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You can get some good truths. Of course, there's some bad information out there, but there's some great, reliable sources. You know what I mean? You can search the CDC. You can search. There's all kinds of different. Mm-hmm. You can search different colleges. Stanford has some great information.
And learning credible versus non-credible.
Yes.
And sometimes when you hear the same story on different sources, that a lot of that's true. Now, some,
Mm-hmm.
like some of the details to make sure. But
right.
I agree, researching. But sometimes, like with Juneteenth, people didn't sometimes know to research anything.
Right.
And to really be fully aware. And I think Roz posted that she was fully grown before she even became aware of it. And that happens with a lot of history. I think I knew about a lot of it, but didn't understand the significance, the importance, the impact, the depth.
But even being Black in this area, I know I didn't grow up here, but I was in high school. I went to Tulsa Central, and I remember going to Juneteenth in Greenwood. And I didn't know
what it was for.
Mm-hmm. I just knew it was something that we did and that we celebrated, and now it was fun. And I would see a bunch of my friends, and I could get some turkey legs. And I like turkey legs. So, and hear some good music. So, it is important that we make sure that our children are educated, and that, we know the truth about, where we came from, because those things are empowering, and that's important,
I think knowledge is empowering, and even if you don't think it has to do with you, because you say, well, I'm not Black,
right,
you're human, if you're American, any of that, I think it's important to understand and know and learn
the contributions of everybody, not just Black people, Hispanic people, Native Americans, Chinese Americans, Japanese Americans, Jewish Americans, all of these people that have come here and played a part in what America is, today. And we can live here. We can live here together and still celebrate each other. We don't all have to assimilate and be the same, And I was talking to a young lady about that today. Growing up in the Bay Area, it was just a different world, And I'm not saying that the Bay is perfect, because nowhere is perfect. But we have, Chinatown, and we have, the Jewish part of town, and we have different areas where you can go, and even just the authenticity of just the food and all the things. Like, I grew up in that. So if you go to Chinatown, you'll see, yes, it'll be in English, but then it'll also be, in script, and you'll see ducks and things hanging from the windows, and you can go into, the different herbal places. Miles, get off the door. You can go to different... Miles, my dog, wants to go out. Agape, can you do something with the puppy, please? And you'll see people weighing things with the scales and the different herbs, and the way that their culture is different than ours, but those differences can be celebrated. I can shop there. I can shop at, Morello's. I can shop at Nemhi. I can shop at these we all can have our special...
We can embrace our differences instead of saying, well, you're not like me, so you're not as good as me.
That's okay. It's okay if I have locks and I don't have, the creamy crack on my hair. I had creamy crack for a long time. So if you still want to use the creamy crack, that's a relaxer, and then makes your hair straight. Then that's then do you get down. Get down. But a lot of black women, we would straighten our hair to be acceptable, you know what I mean, in the workforce, and for many years and probably still now today, you couldn't get a job or you were told that you would have to, Miles, get off Agape. He's not okay, baby. You got to come get him, sweetheart. Now. Thank you.
I do think learning about all of these things also helps us develop empathy for other people, because when we're actually listening, we develop an empathy and understanding instead of saying us and them and that type of narrative.
Yeah.
And that transcends not just race, it transcends so many other things. But one of the things that I talk about is diversity is a beautiful, beautiful thing, but the problem with diversity or integration and all of that is sometimes when we integrate, we want to say, you can integrate if you're like me, but you can't integrate if you want to be you. And I think for what we need to do is say, we accept you for you.
Right.
And your differences are beautiful, not something that needs to be changed.
It doesn't have to be, colonizing someone or forcing people to assimilate to your ideals, what you're comfortable with. You know what I mean? I feel like we have adapted, but it's okay for other people to adapt as well. You know what I mean? And with that being said, it's a respect, you know what I mean, for somebody else's culture, of us all being a part of the human race, but saying that in that human race there is an equality. People for some reason think equality means sameness, and it's not.
How boring would that be?
No,
what if
equality
we were the same?
Does not mean the same. Equality means we're all human and we are equal, but equality is not sameness, and that is a big deal for people to really understand, that it's okay that I'm dark skinned with locks and that Crystal is more fair with curly hair, but she's got this light brown baby, and all of us, it's okay. It's okay if you clap on the 1 and the 3 and I clap on the 2 and the 4. That's okay. I don't understand.
Or if I can dance and you can't
dance. Yes, and I can't dance and I'm black, so that's a stereotype. But I dance anyway, even though it's, I still will do it.
I haven't seen.
I have fun. I will dance and have a good time. And my husband is like, "What? What is that? What are you doing?" So, anyways, just having some fun in the midst of all of the heaviness that's going on. But we wanted to come on and say hi to y'all. And again, like I said, we will discuss.
Another health
topic. What are we talking about?
We're going to probably talk about, we were talking about autoimmune.
That's right.
We have lots of ideas in our brain.
And autoimmune.
And so if there's something, we'll be back. We'll hopefully be a little earlier next Friday.
Yes.
It is a big topic.
It is a huge topic. So from celiac, lupus.
Oh my gosh!
Come on, name some.
Hashimoto's.
Okay.
Type 1 diabetes is then we also have multiple sclerosis can be considered an autoimmune. I mean, all of those chronic diseases can have an autoimmune component. There's CREST. There's Raynaud's. There's a lot more, and we can maybe even talk about those, but talk about gut health, because we hear that a lot,
as far as inflammation as well. So if you guys have some specific inflammation things that you or inflammatory diseases or anything that you guys want us to specifically touch on, we can. We'll probably keep it broad because it's such a big topic.
Yep.
But we will,
we'll talk, and
it'll be good,
and we'll have more. We'll kind of refine how we're doing and what we're doing. And
yes.
And this week, like I said, today was a long day. This was a long week, I think, for everyone, for one reason or the other.
Right.
There's a lot going on in Tulsa right now with the different things, and I think
there is a Juneteenth celebration going on, but I also think that that's interesting too, because when you have the whole Corona stuff that we have going on, our normal huge Juneteenth was canceled. So now we're scrambling, putting a few other things together, which is nice, but we're doing that in response to the fact that we are having this huge rally, you know what I'm saying, tomorrow as well. So let's still have this.
And it
also.
was scheduled before that, but I think in the
Was it? I didn't know that.
Yeah, the Juneteenth celebration.
The second one, or okay,
yeah, the second one was scheduled before the rally was, I think, even talked about.
That's good.
So that's yes, and then but I think some of it just wanted to have a celebration, even though the other one was canceled because of COVID. So that, but then I think just with all of the racial tension that's going on, just making sure.
And then things are weird. But I will say, before we get off off of all of our various devices, as I look at all 4 of them, we will be having the lift, which makes me happy. Yes. Found that out today. So we will have our Lift Every Baby celebration. It's going to be on August 29th. It's going to be at Foolish Things downtown, and it is going to be amazing. And I'm super excited.
The best one ever.
The best one ever. It is going to be great. So we're going to have a good time. We're going to have it in a way that's going to be safe for everyone. I have no idea what the rules and regs are going to be at that time, but we will make sure that we follow them. And we are going to celebrate Black Breastfeeding Week. And of course, everyone is always welcome and invited. But our focus is Black maternal mortality rates and Black infant mortality rates and Black breastfeeding, because breastfeeding is, the research shows that it lowers both of those rates. So we have lower rates of infant mortality, we have lower rates of maternal mortality, and that's across the board. That's not just with Black people, that is with all races. So we just want to normalize breastfeeding in our city and in our state. And so we will be there, and we're gonna have fun, and we're gonna feed you, and we're gonna educate you, and we're gonna give away some free stuff, and we're gonna lift these babies up, and we're gonna celebrate life and mamas and all the things. So I cannot wait to see everybody there. It's gonna be awesome. So shout out to Foolish Things, and we really appreciate them, and we can't wait to see you guys next week. And then, mark your calendars that we will be with you guys for the Lift Every Baby celebration, August 29th.
We should do a live stream from that too. That's a Saturday.
It will be. And
maybe that can be my job.
Yeah, I will have already a lot of stuff to do, but it's going to be good. So we're going to sign off. Happy Juneteenth,
happy
everybody.
Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth. And you guys have an awesome.
Thank you, Roz.
Awesome
Thank
weekend.
you guys for joining us.
Thank you, Miss Roz. All right.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye. I don't know how to end.
I don't know where the end is on this one either. Wait, I'm trying to get under your arm. There we go.